Location, if you haven't written it in yet, cafeteria. All right, cafeteria. We will be having our midterm in the cafeteria. Then there is a spot for your seat number. That is located on Google Classroom. Please get it before the exam. Do not ask me the day of what my seat number is. I have 4, you guys and 3 other classes taking a midterm in there. All right, the last thing I want to do is look up what your seat number is. In fact, I can probably, here's the scenario. You walk in, oh, Mr. Carlino, do you have my seat number? I didn't look it up. Good luck to you, young buck, and I'm just going to walk away from you. Okay? I just don't have the time. Okay? I got to make sure everyone's got calculators, they're seated right. So please know your seat number before you come in. You guys that are new to this, when you come into the cafeteria, up on the wall will be letters, and on the side wall will probably be numbers. So if you are seat G2, you find row G, see where the 2 is, where they come together, that's your desk. Okay? That's how it works. You can bring in your supplies and water. You will leave your backpacks and anything else outside the cafeteria. They are not allowed in the cafeteria. Your supplies, which I'll get to in a second, and water. That's all that's allowed in the cafeteria. Okay? So please don't try to bring in anything else. Any bags, phones, whatever, are going to be left outside the cafeteria. All good. So we're all set there. All right, let's go over supplies real quick. Flip the next page, please, of your review. Flip the next page. Here's your supplies. The only thing I'm bringing for you is a calculator. All right, I will bring your number. Might not be your numbered calculator, but it will be a NumWorks calculator that I'll bring to the exam. Everything else is on you. I am not going to bring any extra supplies with me. No extra compasses, no straight edges, nothing. That's all on you. All right, so first thing, blue or black pens. The entire midterm, our entire midterm is done in pen, except for any graphs or constructions. All right, the reason why, security purposes. All right, I'm going to give your midterm back the next time we meet, whatever that next Monday is, and have you guys look through it. Look, I just want to make sure we're not trying to erase and put something right. Oh, look, I really had it. All right, well, no, you didn't if it was in pen, and I can see you cross it out. All right, so everything is done in pen, blue or black, except for the constructions and graphs. If you guys are nervous, I'm going to make a mistake in pen, do it all in pencil, then go over it in pen. Okay, then go over it in pen or bring erasable pen, I guess. That too. All right, but anything except for the constructions and graphs have to be done in pen. Pencils with erasers, obviously. Calculator, I'll bring. Compass, straight edge, that's on you guys. I suggest you bring it in a Ziploc bag so you're just not getting it all. One fell out in my bag on my way here or something like that. So put it all in a Ziploc bag. You bring your Ziploc bag along with, if you're going to bring water into the cafeteria, find your seat, you're ready to go. Okay, you're ready to go. I can't help you with your A game or anything like that. Okay, no excuses. That's up to you guys. I can't help you with that. The exam is 2 hours. And I'm going to keep reminding you of that because when we say 2 hours, it's done at 3. Not 3:05, not 3:10. I can't give you extra time like I do in this class for tests and quizzes. All right, it is made, which comes to the next part. Turn your page for it, please. Look at the test format. It is made to be taken under 2 hours. All right, this is how the midterm is made up. 4 parts. First part's multiple choice. Please take your time on that. This is where kids get killed because it's 2 points apiece and it's right or wrong. All right, so you get 5 wrong out of those 20. That's 10 points already off. And we're not curving it. All right, there's no curve on this. I can guarantee we are not curving an honors level test. All right, so there's not going to be any curve. Parts 2 and 3, show your work. All right, there'll probably be a construction as one of those questions in parts 2 and 3, I bet. And then part 4, look, it's a proof. I'm not going to tell you what kind, but let's be honest here. If it's one question on the last part and it's 6 points, it's probably not going to be just prove these triangles congruent by side, and you're done. 4 steps. All right, it's probably going to be something. I'm not going to tell you what type it is, but look, we got what? Triangle proofs, quadrilateral proofs, indirect proofs. We have a lot of different proofs we've done this year where that could be the part 4 question, but it's going to be a longer one. All right, so be ready for that. Go ahead, Ian, then Zeev.
So you said one proof, so it's either going to be like one of those proofs where it's not like a formal proof or a formal proof.
So it could be statements, reasons, or it could be the coordinate ones we went over in quadrilaterals. Yes, that's a different type of proof we went over. Yeah, Zeev.
What's the difference between part 2 and part 3?
Part two, I always think of part two as multiple choice without the multiple choice. So it doesn't take you too long to do it. But part three, you're going to show a little bit more work, more involved. Might be parts A, B, C to it. All right, so that's what I mean by the different part 2 and 3. Yep. Anybody else questions there? So a total of 68 points. I don't know how your other midterms work, but our math midterm does not count towards any quarter. It is a separate grade on itself. So you guys have a quarter 1 grade. You're about to receive a quarter 2 grade next week. You'll have a quarter 3 and a quarter 4 grade at the end of the year. Then there's 2 other grades that are mixed in, which are your midterm and the Regents exam at the end of the year. So this midterm counts just as much as your quarter 2 grade did. So it's 1/6 of your overall grade, the midterm. Okay, it doesn't count towards a certain quarter. It is a grade all by itself. All right. Also, the midterm does not care how you did in quarter 2 and quarter 1. Because some years I get some egotistical students who say, oh, look, I got high 90s in quarter 1 and quarter 2. I don't need to prepare that much for the midterm. And they end up getting a 70. This grade doesn't have to match those two. Okay, so please don't get that in your mind. I'm a high 90 student, quarter 1 and quarter 2. That's what I should get on the midterm, but your effort doesn't reflect what you should get. Right, so please keep that in mind. Don't get a big head based on what you got quarter 1 and quarter 2. The midterm doesn't care. All right, you need to prepare for the midterm just as hard as any test or quiz you prepared for quarter 2 and quarter 1. Any questions there? Yes, Matt.
We have to bring in our own compass.
Yeah, darn right. I'm not going to feed you. That was on the supply list at the beginning of the year.
I like your compasses.
All right, well, here we go. Then I have a deal now. All right. If you would like to borrow any of my supplies, which is fine. All right. Maybe you don't have your own compass. You need to borrow one of mine. It's going to cost you. Not actual money, but it's going to cost you a review session to come in and review with me. All right. So if you come in and review at least, and I'll go over my review sessions in a second, at least a half hour with me, I'll let you take one of my compasses or straight edges. All right. So that's the payment in return if you want to borrow any of my supplies for the midterm. Okay. All good? All right. Last thing. Go back to my thing here so I don't forget. Try to get there early. Okay. Try to get there early. If you show up late, you do not get extra time. You show up at 2:00, you have an hour to take that bad boy. All right. We don't add in extra time because you showed up late. And there should be no reason why. All right. The buses are running a little bit differently, but try to get there 10 to 15 minutes early. Okay, try to get there outside the cafeteria 10 to 15 minutes early. So when we allow you to come in, because we'll allow you to come in a little bit before 1. So you get your stuff all set, you get your seat, find your seat, get your supplies all set, and get ready to go. Okay, because I got to make a couple announcements before we actually start the exam. Review sessions. I'm going to be here this Saturday in the classroom, 11 to 1. Anybody that wants to come in and review, you don't have to stay the whole time. You can come and go as you please. If any of your friends are taking that have Miss Linehan, they can come too. Just remember, it's a business session though. Okay, it's business. It's not walk around. Oh, what's the school look like on a Saturday afternoon? That's not what this is for. It's not a social session. All right, we're getting work done. Bring your packets and any other supplies that you're going to bring. All right, so I'll be here from 11 to 1 on Saturday in this room. And then Tuesday, right before the exam, I'll be available in the morning, 9 to 12:15. Okay. After that, I got to go get ready for the exam. So 9 to 12:15, I'll be here as well. And again, that's a come and go as you please. Okay, you don't have to stay the full time at all, but come and go as you please with any questions. And these are review sessions. They're not me standing up here saying, oh, let's look at this. Let's look at this. You bring your questions in, or if you just want a quiet place to get some work done, go ahead, come on in. All right, that's what you can use it for as well. All right, anything on the basics before we start jumping into our review? Go ahead, Josh. Yeah.
If you're like sick the day
Yep.
of the midterms, what
It happens. Usually they'll have you come in sometime during midterm week that you're available to take it. You still need to take it. That's the thing. Like if you get sick, it just doesn't go away. Like I need a midterm grade for you. So sometimes they take it on that Friday at the end of midterm week, where no midterms are going on, or maybe that following Monday when classes resume. All right, so I'll be here from 11 to 1 on Saturday in this room, and then Tuesday right before the exam, I'll be available in the morning, 9 to 12:15. Okay. After that, I got to go get ready for the exam. So 9 to 12:15, I'll be here as well. And again, that's a come and go as you please. Okay, you don't have to stay the whole time. You can come and go as you please with any questions. And these are review sessions. They're not me standing up here saying, oh, let's look at this. Let's look at this. You bring your questions in, or if you just want a quiet place to get some work done, go ahead, come on in. All right, that's what you can use it for as well. All right, anything on the basics before we start jumping into our review? Go ahead, Josh. Yeah.
if you're like sick the day
Yep. But yeah, you're going to have to take it eventually. Yep, if you are sick. The Regents exam, that's a different story. You got to be there even if you're on your deathbed. All right. But this, since it's a midterm, it doesn't count as a Regents. You do have to take it eventually, but that's up to you and the assistant principals when you take it. Anything else? Good questions. Have I had people get 100s? Yeah. Have I had people fail? Yes. Okay, it's all across the board. The most important thing I've said to you, it doesn't matter what you got quarter one and quarter two. It does not matter. All right, it's not going to reflect what you do on the midterm. Well, I got a 75 on the midterm, but I get none. Okay, your effort will match your grade. Let's put it that way. The effort you put into this exam will match your grade. 7 units worth too. Forget about being an honors level midterm. It's 7 units, which is a lot of material. All right. What I do, I only have 5 days with you here. I got today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday. I got 5 days. I am not going to waste your time. What I put up here and do with you in review probably has something to do with the darn midterm. All right, I'm not going to waste your time. All right, whatever we do in class has some type of relationship to questions on the midterm. All right, but if this is the only review you're going to do, those 5 days in class, good luck. Good luck to you. You got to do something outside of class on your own. Okay, you have to prepare somewhere else. If you're just going to spend the 5 days with me and that's all the review you're going to do, boy, we're in trouble. All right, you ready to roll? Calculators out, ready to go. You may need those. Now, I was informed third period that I made a mistake. I forgot that we added pages in this year to your midterm review packet. So my old assignments did not match up with what they should be. So I am sorry that some of the pages and problems I gave you on Friday did not match up, but I fixed it and they'll all match up going forward. Okay, so anything that came up or anything in general you want to ask before I get into today's topic. Every day there's a certain topic that's a major topic on the midterm. But before I get to that, are there specific questions you would like me to go over that you tried? You're like, whoa, way out of my league, or I have questions about this one. Whether I assigned it, was supposed to assign it. We're all good. We sure? Okay, first thing I'm going to go over then today. You will be given a formula sheet on your midterm. You will be given a formula sheet, but you know what? It's not going to take care of it. There's only 2 formulas on the formula sheet that are useful. Quadratic formula, Pythagorean theorem. We're missing 4 more that you need to know going into the exam 1 week from today. All right? So let's quickly talk about those bad boys here. And whatever you do for notes is on you. You just want to stare up here and watch the whole time through the 5 days, that's fine. All right, I'm going over what I think is important. So there's 4 formulas that you definitely need to know going into the exam that somehow will be tested on one of the 4 parts. All right, what do you think? We got the big 3 definitely, which are midpoint. Let's start midpoint. Yep. Going to need my midpoint formula. Add your x's, divide by 2. Add your y's, divide by 2. Yep, there's one of the big 3 you're going to need to know. Won't be provided. Doyle? Distance. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to put it up here. I know some of you use Pythagorean theorem instead. Distance, it's fine. Fun. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Yep. All right, what's the other one of the big 3? Midpoint distance. Maybe it's not a big 3. Slope. Yeah, slope. I'm going to give you 2 versions of slope. First version is if you take the 2 points you're given and use the slope of those 2 points, you would do your change in y, y2 minus y1 over your change in x, x2 minus x1. You certainly don't have to do it that way. You could also graph them, graph the 2 points, and do rise over run. You will have scrap graph paper attached to your midterm. Scrap graph paper attached to your midterm along with the formula sheet that has Pythagorean theorem and quadratic formula. And then I thought of a fourth one other than the big three. Anybody know which one's that? This is going to be. What's up, Zoe? Quadrilateral unit. Sum of the interior angles of a polygon. So let's say, and I'm totally making this up, one of the multiple choice questions, hey, find the sum of the interior angles of a 19-gon. What formula am I going to need to use? Go ahead, Steve.
19 minus 2, or x minus 2, times 180.
180 times, yep, variable. We called it n minus 2, where n represents the number of sides. And maybe, I think that's it. It could be a lot worse. It could be a whole page full of them, but that's it. You will be given Pythag and quadratic formula, so I'm not going to write those down. Questions? Okay, let's go. Get out your Chromebooks now. Go to Google Classroom. Because today's topic, the questions for today's topic are, I just put them all together on Google Classroom. So if you want to throw it in a Cami and do it on your Chromebook, you can. If you want to copy it onto a separate sheet of paper, you can. Or not do anything, you can. It's your call. Not going to force anybody here. Today's topic, big topic on the midterm, slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines, writing equations. All right, that's today's topic, slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines. If you guys go on Classroom, you will see midterm materials, and the first one on there should be day 1, slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines. So if you could open up that for me, so you can see exactly what I'm doing up here on the board. And again, however you guys want to do these, it's up to you. If you don't want to do them at all, I'm not going to judge people. Everyone reviews different ways. Everyone have it open, see the questions I'm talking about. And also, I'm not doing any numbers either. Random numbers, I don't have time. We got to move. All right, I got 5 days. There's no way I can get through 7 units in 5 days, but we'll come as close as possible. All right, slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines. First question. I have a line up there, negative 2x plus 6. What's the slope of a line parallel to it? What's the slope of a line perpendicular to it? First question, what's the slope of my line up here? What's the slope of the original line I've given you? Where is it, negative 2 or 6? It's negative 2, whatever's next to the x, yes. All right, so what's going to be any slope of a line that's parallel to it? What's the relationship? Welcome to review. Zeev? Also equal to negative 2. Slopes of parallel lines are equal. Slopes of parallel lines are equal. What about a perpendicular line? I got to do the negative reciprocal. We say that term all the time, but do you know what it means to do? What do I have to do to negative 2? We say negative reciprocal, which is the correct term, but what the heck do I do to get that? Flip it and change the sign. So it becomes positive. What happens when I flip it? 1/2. Okay, positive 1/2. I'm going to go quick unless there's questions. All right, next one. Same thing. Sorry, I erased it. Still want a slope of a line parallel, slope of a line perpendicular up here. But it's a little bit tougher to figure out the slope of the original line. I'm going to have to do a little movement, all right? Because you cannot determine the slope unless it's y equals 4. What's got to get moved over first? Everyone could contribute here. 3x has to get moved over, so minus 3x. So I'm left with negative 4y equals negative 3x plus 6. Move this over. All right, next, what's got to get moved now? It's got to get moved now. -4, divide both sides by -4. So here's my equation in y equals, everyone see positive 3/4, right? Positive 3/4 x. And that's all I really need. I don't care what's if you put -6/4 plus a -6/4. That part it's not going to do anything for me in the problem. All right, what's the slope of my line? 3/4. So slope of any line parallel to it also 3/4. And then what about perpendicular? Flip, change the sign, -4/3. Any questions? Now look, this is an honors level midterm. Here's the difference between a regular geometry midterm and honors level. Regular honors. Okay, you're gonna have to do some work to find the slope, right? All right, so if you want to see a little difference here where we're going, that would be something maybe I put on my AB midterm, but BC, here you go, right there. Any questions? Now I want to actually write a full-on equation with you. Other than finding the slopes, let's do a full-on equation. And you'll notice I have a blank because somebody's going to pick the point in this class. All right, so I need somebody to please pick a point that it goes through. There's no wrong answer. Just pick a point for me, please. Here we go. Who's got 9? 9. 9, pick any point, Ian. Let's go. 2, 3. You got it. All right. So I want an equation of a line parallel to that one and going through 2, 3 now. Going through 2, 3. It's positive 2x, right? Not negative 2x. Okay. All right, so if I'm going to write the equation of the line, I'm going to need 2 things here. 2 things. We're going to need to find the slope of this new line together, and first time talking about it today, need the y-intercept. Those are the 2 things if you're ever asked to write an equation of a line. You need the slope and y-intercept. Remember, slope is the m value, and y equals mx plus b. Y-intercept is the b value. Always start by finding the slope first. So let's go back up here, -3y equals 2x plus 1. What are we doing first? Don't even think of telling me the slope's 2. Get out of here. Get out of here. Divide both sides by -3. And please speak up if there's any questions, because I'm going to go fast here. I'm going to slow down when I get to one problem. So I have what? -2/3 x. And again, it doesn't matter what you do here, but -1/3. All right, what's my slope here? Slope? -2/3. Looking for a line parallel. We just went over a couple questions about this. So it's going to remain -2/3. Right, so my answer should have a slope of -2/3. How do I find that y-intercept? The b. Little review from unit 3. I plug into slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. What do I plug in? The point that it goes through. All right, the point that it goes through. So Ian gave us 2, 3. The y coordinate is 3, so that goes in here. Slope. And it doesn't matter, you can't get this one wrong, right? Because they're both equal, but you always plug in the slope of the new line. Slope of the new line. -2/3 x 2. Oh, yeah, good. Ian picked a sloppy one. Now I'm going to have you use your calculators. Good. They always don't come out nice and pretty. -2/3 times 2 should give you a -4/3. And then how are you going to move over that -4/3? Add it. Good job. That's what I thought too. So 3 plus 4/3. Oh boy. Is that 9/3? 5/3? How'd I do? 5/3? I'm not the one with the calculator. Yeah, I am a human calculator, but I'm not the one with the calculator to confirm that. I do make mistakes. Even great ones make mistakes. It happens from time to time. Because that'll give you 9 minus 4 is 5. 5/3? Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. Let me know. Am I, or are we good? Everyone's looking at me all awkward here.
13.
You added it.
Oh, I gotta add. Son of a gun. See? I gotta add 9 and 4, which gives me 13/3 instead. Speak up, it's fine. I'm not gonna be mad at you. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 13/3.
Could you leave it as like the answer?
Or one, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if you want to leave it like that, sure. The only thing I wouldn't leave it as is 4.33333333 repeating. Clean it up a little bit. Clean it up a little bit. All right, any issues? All right, next up, now we go from a parallel to a perpendicular line. Get rid of the work from third period. It's all going to be different for you guys. All right, need somebody to pick a point it goes through. Pick a point. What was this? I just erased this. Minus 10 up here equals 10.
Yeah.
All right, here you go. Give me a point it goes through so we can get going. 1, Charlie, give me a point this goes through.
Just any point.
Any point.
All right. -4, 7.
All righty. Here we go. I'm sure this will be sloppy with that 7 there. Perfect. Perfect. All right, but now I want it perpendicular. All right, find the slope of my original line before we get going. Find the slope of my original line. Add the 3x over. This is honors level right here. I'm not wasting your time. I know it comes up often on the midterm. And when I say often, I don't mean like 10 questions. Like when I say often, I'm like 3, 4 maybe. There's not that many questions to begin with. And then divide it by 2. We have 3/2 x plus 5. When I divide by 2. Slope of this line, 3/2. What about the slope of my line now if it's got to be perpendicular? What are we using for the slope of my answer? Negative 2/3. We're good there? Ready for the y-intercept. Oh, this is going to be nasty. Let's see if I can get this one. So I'm going to plug in 7 for y, negative 2/3 for m. Again, use the new slope. I don't use the original one. Use the new slope. Negative 2/3 x, negative 4. And now we're solving for b. Whoa! 8/3. Love it. Love it. Let's see if I can do this one. Okay, I'm actually going to subtract it now. And that's got to be a 21 on top. Minus 8. 13 thirds. 13/3. And then there we go. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 13/3. anything. I'm going to slow down on the next one because it's going to take a little thinking on the next one. We're good here. Okay, so the next one. Write the equation of the perpendicular bisector. Woo-hoo-hoo. That goes through this line segment. All right, still going to need slope and y-intercept. You want the equation of a line, I'm going to need the slope and the y-intercept. So let's first start with the slope and how I'm going to find the slope. All today, I've given you an equation, and you've gotten into y equals 4. Well, there's no equation here. But can you find the slope of that line segment? So I can take either keep it the same or take the negative reciprocal. Can you find the two ways? Two ways you can find the slope of this line segment. You can do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or since it's already graphed, you can also do rise over run. Okay, figure out what you're going to do. You can do rise over run or change in y over change in x. Negative 1/2 for the slope of the line segment. What do I need to do with it to find the perpendicular bisector slope then? Keep it the same or negative reciprocal? Perpendicular bisector. Perpendicular. So the slope's going to be positive 2. We okay on that part before I talk y-intercept, because that's a whole different beast. All right, let's talk y-intercept now, kids, because I don't want you guys to fall into the trap. All right, I am still going to use y equals mx plus b. I'm still going to use that and solve for b. And we know our m is 2. Now what do I plug in for y and x? Hey, I don't want to plug in these two coordinates. I don't. Remember what you want to plug in for y and x. You want to put a point that the line goes through. So I need a point on the perpendicular bisector to plug in. I do not want to plug in a point that's already on the segment right here. I'm not looking for the equation of this. I'm looking for the perpendicular bisector. So if I drew it in quickly, I need a point on this right here, the perpendicular bisector. Let me say that again. I need a point on the perpendicular bisector. The perpendicular bisector. What's that point right there? If that's a bisector, that's the midpoint. Everyone sees if I find the midpoint of the segment, it's also on my bisector. That's the point I want. You cannot use -7 and 13, 9 and 5. You need a point on the bisector to plug in. So here it is, midpoint. Yep. What is the midpoint of my segment? Because that point will also be on the bisector. Oh boy. Midpoint formula for the 80th time this year. 19? 19? That's the point it goes through. 19. That's the X and the Y I want to use. When you plug in for X and Y, it's got to be a point on the line you're trying to write the equation for. So 7 should be your y-intercept. 7. Which gives me a final answer for the perpendicular bisector. Y equals that new slope 2, x, and my y-intercept plus 7. All good? So everyone all right? When you plug in for y and x and mx plus b, it has to be a point on the line we're writing the equation for. All right, I got one more for you, and then some suggested problems. All right, so 2 lines. Line M, I gave you the coordinates for, or those coordinates are on line M. And then line N, which is perpendicular to it. So what's my slope of line N? All right, what's going to be my slope of line M? All right, well, first thing is I got to find the slope of line M. So you can change in Y over change in X, or use that scrap graph paper I'll give you on the midterm and do rise over run, whatever you're most comfortable with. So let's see here, slope of line M. Whoa. There we go. Make sure Y is on top, common mistake. It's always putting the X's on top, Y is on top. So line M has a slope of -3. If it's perpendicular to line N, what are we looking for line N then? Positive. Line M has a slope of -3. It's perpendicular to line N, so it'll have a slope of positive 1/3. Negative reciprocals. These pages and problems are now correct. So here's what I am suggesting for tonight. Okay, that's what I'm suggesting for tonight. Tomorrow's topic, quadrilateral properties. Properties of your quadrilaterals.